Queenzflip calls out Mandi for dissing his co-host and threatens to run down on me again. That's right, y'all. Queenzflip was just on Twitter and he did not like what Mandi said on the Need to Know podcast, where she basically said that a lot of the co-hosts on the podcast can't speak due to the Joe Budden podcast having too many mics. Then Queenzflip also threatened me on Twitter, but we'll get to that a little bit later. All right, so what did Queenzflip say? Well, he added Mandi on Twitter and said, "Can I ask you something? You and I build a rapport, and you put me on to bleep, and vice versa. But do you think it was kind what you said about two people not speaking on the pod? Come see me, Light Bright. That's a shot." Now, this is interesting because he's obviously responding to what Mandi said on Savon and Alex's podcast, The Need to Know, where she was talking about the modern day dynamics of the Joe Budden podcast, where there's a bunch of mics and, a lot of people talk at once. I think it was pretty mild critique and also a pretty truthful observation. And I think this goes to show that this podcast, some certain members of the team, you can't say nothing. You say something so little, they react crazy. What you can't? What Mandi said was true. There's mad mics on the podcast. I can't hear some of you speak. Queenzflip, do you ever see yourself on the podcast saying, "Yo, bro, let me"? But can I? But I just wait. Let me just. Why you think Ish be acting the way he does? Because he can't talk. Everybody's interrupting each other. And I know Joe Budden did this because he wants to have more ammo, more people on the Patreon. But Mandi was completely right. Now, Mandi would respond back to Queenzflip and just basically, she didn't say a lot, but she just basically hinted that, "Oh, come on, man. Stop overplaying it." And I think one thing we need to analyze what Queenzflip did with this tweet. Manipulation. Flipulation. It's time for the flipulator. It's time for the flipulator. So here's what he did here. He said, "Me and you exchanged knowledge. So how dare you critique the podcast? Mind you, a podcast that is one of the top pods in the game." So Flip is asking Mandi to not speak about a podcast because, get this, they're friends. And this aligns with his dynamic with me. Now, I know me and Flip aren't friends. We've never met before. Well, maybe we did back in the day when I was in college. But I think Flip just has this thing where he feels like if you do something for him or if he does something for you, he's able to control you. And I think that Flip has tried to control me because he feels like he is the one that made me poppin'. He is the one that got Joe to speak about me openly on the pod. But we'll get to that later. But let's talk about what Queenzflip said about me. So, it was Saturday night. I posted something from Reddit on my Twitter. It was something that appeared to be legitimate merch from Queenzflip. And the caption read, $175 t-shirts. And it looked like some merch or something. And apparently that angered Queenzflip. And he said, "Look, I chased him out of Mandi's studio. I was en route and they said, nah, he wasn't going there anymore. I gave my word to the other studio and I gave the pod my word to not go to anyone's home while being on the podcast. Unless I feel my family was disrespected." I feel my family got disrespected by him making that shirt. This is what he said on Twitter. And I must say, I didn't make a shirt. I don't know what he's talking about. This was something I saw on the subreddit, so I reposted it on my Twitter. And we have to unpack what Queenzflip said because I think this largely ties into the same thing that happened with Mandi. Whenever Queenzflip feels like he is responsible for your success or feels like he looked out for you, he takes ownership of it. That's right, it's flipulation. Flipulating. It's time for the flipulator. It's time for the flipulator. And I think Flip will always have an issue with me because I did not hold him in high regard when he got Joe to mention me on the pod. Something that's been consistent in his attacks against me. I got the pod to mention you. Without you, without me, you wouldn't be able to. No. No, I'll never disrespect Flip. I'll never mention his family or anything like that. But he tried to make something I said look like I did mention his family, and he just did that because he's mad and there's some undertone of bitterness about what I did. But like I said, there's really no one in the industry that I really think looked out for me. Like, I do think I have cool relationships with some people. Maybe Rory, Adam, Ian, Joe. That's it. Everybody else, nah, I don't see you like that. Flip, you have disrespected me for no reason. You expect a certain level of respect, but you blurt out these Flipisms, disrespect my family, said stuff about my mom, but I don't really care about that because I'm fine. I'm not insecure. I know kind of my background, my upbringing. You've done stuff to try to make me act out of character. You've often tried to apply street characteristics to podcasting. It's disgusting how you are using this Mandi studio thing as some type of flex. It's nasty. It's bad for your brand. Why are you trying to turn the streets of New York podcasting into the actual streets of New York? Why are you doing that to Mandi? Why are you doing that to Wheezy? It's terrible. It's nasty. It's ugly. And I assume at some point Queenzflip is going to run down on me. He makes constant threats about me, where I live, my job. He's going to pull up to my job. Sorry, but this is what regular people do. They have jobs where they go to every day and they make money. It's not crazy for you to find out that I have some type of footprint online that speaks to my career trajectory, the things I've accomplished. But see, sometimes people just go by what you've done in the streets. Oh, people don't know you. You look at streets. Nonetheless, Flip, if you do run down on me, I assume we'll have a good conversation. I think you constantly make it seem like it could get violent. I don't know why. I don't know what I've done to harness that. I don't think I've ever said anything crazy, but obviously your lens is a bit clouded at times. Anyway, that's my video for today. Let me know what you think about this exchange Queenzflip had with Mandi. Let me know what you think about this exchange Queenzflip had with me. And do you feel I crossed the line? All I want to say is that my Twitter timeline is just for me to have fun. And I saw it on the subreddit. Should Queenzflip be attacking the subreddit guys? Or is he just mad at me because I never really looked at him like somebody who helped me out? And he feels like I should be talking about him in high regard. I have you know, when Flip first got to the podcast, I used to talk about how great he was on the pod. And Flip loved me then. But the minute I make a video not aligning with his perception of how I should see things, all of a sudden it's, I want to run down on Danny. He's evil. He's a plague. But like I said, and always will say, follow me on Instagram, The Stop TV. Follow me on Twitter, The Stop TV. This is Danny from The Stop. Peace.